It's a bird bath. Is that just rainwater? Looks a little weird.
The birds seem to like it.
They're even singing a little tune. Toot, 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 toot.
Please don't do that.
You ready, Sally?
Grimoire, I've been standing here for 7.5 minutes.
Just checking.
Do you have the map?
Yeah, but it's basically blank. Did you read the case file? What do you think?
I'm not sure yet. It's really not a lot to go on. Did you read it?
Yeah, I'll read it on the way to the crime scene.
So, who do you think did it?
Sally, you know full well we haven't met a single suspect yet. We haven't even been to the crime scene.
Still, I reckon I've got it all worked out.
What are they?
Wind chimes. Silent, wooden wind chimes.
It's just an archway, but it seems a little ominous. Like walking through it might give you bad luck.
Too late. That's a big lake.
It's kind of purple. Looks poisonous.
I think it's just water.
Yeah. Water with poison in it.
I tied the boat up to the mooring post, so it'll stay put. For now. Probably.
Loving the confidence. It's the little boat we used to cross the lake. It's the only way on or off the island.
What a comforting thought.
Mountains.
Nope. They're too steep and too smooth to be mountains. They're more like cliffs.
Whatever they are, they go all the way around the lake, like a barrier. Why is the sky yellow?
Not everything is a mystery, Grimoire. The sky can be whatever color it likes. It's a path for walking.
The ground's moist, but it's not muddy. Wonder how often it rains here.
I cannot believe how exciting this murder investigation is already.
Rocks,
Fascinating.
aren't they? Do you think anybody's watching us from one of those windows?
Maybe. Let's wave just in case.
Do you think anybody's watching us?
Maybe. Let's wave just in case. It's a garden, I think. It's currently far away.
We could walk closer to it.
Ready when you are. It's a garden, I think. Ready when you are. The pond has little stone feet.
Seems a bit superfluous.
You're superfluous.
And it's full of the same weird water that was in the lake.
Any fish in there?
Not a single one. Although there is something in there.
It's a cassette tape. Or it used to be.
It's a statue of some hideous, scaly, bipedal fish monster
Playing a harp.
playing a harp. Hang on a second. This isn't just a regular statue, is it?
Something tells me we're not gonna solve this just yet.
Let's come back later. It must do something.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Spooky. What do you think it's for?
I think it's to scare away detectives.
Is it working?
No.
Spooky. What do you think is it working?
No. It's a path through the garden. Leads up to the house, I assume. It's a stone carving. Wonder how it got cracked.
I think it's supposed to look like that. It's an egg.
This is some garden.
Do the plants all look a little strange to you?
What animal is that?
Hawk, bear, lizard.
Right, of course. A hawk bear lizard.
It's a bandstand.
Bit small for a bandstand.
It's a one-man bandstand.
It's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to say, too quiet?
It's not. It's an appropriate amount of quiet.
It's the sky. That must be Tangle Tower. What animal is
Hawk.
right? A hawk bear lizard. And it's full of the same weird
Any
water.
fish in
Not
there?
a single. Although there is.
It's a cassette tape. Or it used to be. Oh.
What?
Oh. There's an O on the floor.
Oh yeah. Tangle Tour.
Twir. Oh.
What?
Oh.
Tangle.
Twir. Which one do you think came first? The tree or the house?
The age-old question. Looks like someone tried to chop it down, but then gave up.
Can you blame them?
Little bird feeders.
How do you know they're for birds?
Why build a house here anyway?
I'm sure they had their reasons. That leads back to the gardens.
It's not soil, it's stone.
Is that an envelope?
It's been opened, but the letter's still in there. Let's read it.
Isn't that an invasion of someone's privacy?
Oh, definitely. Should we ring the doorbell?
Why would we not? It's a little melody. Do you think he'll start to move if we try to go inside?
No, I think he'll just silently judge us. A path leading towards the stone square.
Don't think it's locked.
Oh, that means we can just walk straight in, right?
I'm pretty sure that's the rule, yeah. It's red, but I don't think it's painted. It's just red. Which one do you think came first?
The age-old question.
That leads back to the gardens.
Now it's a big glass tube filled with water.
There are weeds in there, and sand.
It's an aquarium?
Could be, except there's nothing living in it anymore.
What is that?
I think it's a family tree. Damien Dusk.
Whoa. Is it too late to change my name to Detective Dusk?
It's Freya's father. Do you think he still lives here?
Freya Fellow.
The murder victim.
She's barely related to the main family at all. Felicia Fellow.
Freya's mother.
Do you think she still lives here? Selena Stonetop.
No family line. Apparently, she just appeared out of nowhere. Lord Fellow.
Looks like he was married twice.
Scandal.
Lady Fellow.
Do these people not have first names?
Flint Fellow.
A purebred fellow, if there ever was one. Married a randomer, though.
Do you think he still lives here? Felix Fellow. Looks like he married his way into the Remington family.
Do you think he still lives here? Emily Everstone. Do you think she still lives here? Fitz Fellow. Half Everstone.
Do you think he still lives here?
Lord Remington.
He sounds important. Lady Remington.
I think I have one of those in my bathroom. Flora Remington.
I think she's mentioned in our case file. Primrose Remington.
I always liked the name Primrose.
Do you think she still lives here?
Richard Remington.
The one and only. Fiona Fellow. Dead center. She must be important.
She's half fellow and half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here?
Lord Pointer.
This goes back a couple of generations. Lady Pointer.
How do you become a lady? I want to be a lady. Percival Pointer. He married into the Remington family.
Do you think he still lives here?
Poppy Pointer.
She's half Remington and half Pointer.
Do you think she still lives here? Pandora Pointer.
All this alliteration isn't happening by accident, is it?
Do you think she still lives here?
Buck Brackley.
What a name.
Do you think he still lives here?
Penelope Pointer.
Half Pointer, half Brackley.
Do you think she still lives here? Pretty. Pretty. Pretty.
A big letter F.
Of course. Who doesn't hang a giant banner of their initial in the lobby of their mansion? This one has a big P.
That's probably important.
How very perceptive of you. A door.
Oh, what's behind it?
A room.
Sally, check those plants for clues.
Is soil a clue? Finally, we get to investigate a murder in a spooky mansion.
It's not that spooky, really.
Don't ruin this. We should try and be finished before it gets dark. No pressure.
Stairs.
Finally, we get
It's
to...
not
Don't ruin this. Finally, we get
It's
to...
not
Don't
that.
ruin this.
Sally, check those plants for...
Is soil a clue?
Sally, check those plants.
Is soil a clue?
Sally, check those...
Is soil a clue?
It's not locked.
Stairs. Finally,
It's not
don't
that
ruin this. Let's head to the crime scene first. It's at the top of the West Tower, I think.
The outline of Freya Fellow. Looks like she fell onto her back. There's a single patch of blood, right in the middle. No real signs of a struggle.
That's weird.
What?
Her feet were right up by the canvas,
So?
so she was probably standing really close to the canvas when she fell.
Let's check the case file again. it is. The unfinished portrait of Flora Fellow.
So, what? Freya was killed halfway through painting it?
Looks that way.
I wonder if all of Freya's paintings are this creepy. Maybe it's just because she never got to finish it.
There's something wrong with the crime scene, and something really weird about the murder weapon.
We didn't find a murder weapon.
Flora's portrait is holding a knife tipped with blood because it stabbed Freya.
What?
Weird, huh?
You think Freya was stabbed by a painting? Not by the woman from the painting, but by the painting itself.
Mm-hmm. Freya was standing right up by the canvas when she was killed. There's blood on the knife. It's the murder weapon.
Right, but it's not actually a knife. It can't stab.
See any other knives around here? Case closed.
The case is not closed. And even if you were right, where does that leave us? A painting can't be a murder suspect.
Flora... Fellow?
Hey, sorry to barge in. I'm sure you're still in some distress.
We need to ask you a few questions, I'm afraid.
Did you witness the murder, Flora?
Nothing. What do we do?
Not sure. She's entitled to her silence, I suppose.
For now. Flora... Fellow?
Hey, sorry to barge in. I'm sure you're still...
We need to ask...
Did you witness the murder?
Nothing. What do we do?
Not sure. She's entitled to...
For now. Is there anything you'd like to tell us, Flora? I don't really know anything about you at all.
I think that's the way she likes it. We'll just have to ask other people about her.
Yeah, okay.
Freya was painting your portrait yesterday. Is that right?
Was this something you had planned with her ahead of time?
Was there something special about yesterday?
Did you talk to Freya at all while she was painting you?
She's not going to answer us, is she?
Nope. But at least we can say we tried. Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Surely you must have seen something? Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya? She's acting pretty suspicious if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't know anything.
How is that possible? Were you close with Freya? How are you two related? Did you kill Freya?
Grimoire!
What? I don't even think she's listening.
Oh, she's listening.
Anything we should know? Any hobbies besides staring out the window? Did you ask Freya to paint this? Or was it her idea?
What is that you're holding in the painting, Flora? Some people have been saying it's a knife.
Supposedly, Freya was working on the painting when she was killed. Looks like she was still holding her paintbrush and palette when she fell.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
Supposedly, Freya was working on...
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
Is that a gramophone?
I think so. Except it's got a tape deck instead of a turntable.
It's also got a big crack down the middle.
What about the cassette tape?
Yeah, it sure is. Pink.
Do you think it still works?
The gramophone? Yeah, we could give it a go. It's piano music.
Weird.
It's someone humming a tune.
Is that an egg? An egg with bird feet.
It's also covered in gemstones. What a completely ordinary object.
I think it's a container for something.
Those gems look like they come off. Nope.
Did you check the clue on the back of the egg? I'm pretty sure it explains where to put each of the gemstones.
No, that was it.
Nice work. Did it unlock? What's in there?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, I'm not leaving without a clue. An empty egg is a clue, right?
It's so dark back there.
Somehow, the sunlight doesn't seem to be making it very far into the room. We're at the top of the tower, right?
I think so. Why?
Doesn't matter. It's nothing. Half the room is a big open window.
I don't know if you can call it an open window. It's more like the sudden absence of wall. A bunch of old books. Covered in dust now, but they look well read.
That's the only door in and out of the room.
It's also on the floor.
Sure is. Guessing it's not supposed to be down there.
Is this your gramophone?
Do you know why it's cracked? Flora, this is your egg? Why do you keep it locked?
Is there supposed to be something in there, or is it always empty?
The whole room has a strange feeling about it.
Yeah, there might be a reason for that.
Freya's painting supplies. Freya's painting supplies. The outline of Freya Fellow. Looks like she fell onto her back. There's a single patch of blood, right in the middle. No real signs.
That's weird.
What?
Her feet were right up by the canvas.
So?
So she was probably
Let's
standing.
check the case file again. There it is. The unfinished portrait of Flora Fellow.
So, what? Freya was killed halfway through painting it?
Looks that way.
It's so dark back there.
Somehow the sunlight...
There's a metal plaque on the bench.
Is there a message engraved on it?
I think there was at one point, but someone scratched it off.
It's Tangle Tower. Or at least it's the mansion at the base of Tangle Tower.
A pointless little stone tower
I don't know. Might be a good hiding place.
Want to play hide and seek?
I could be persuaded.
A little bridge leading back to the gardens.
It's a big stone dais.
Biggest one I've ever seen. First one, too. It's a sea serpent, turned into stone by a wizard.
Ah, if you say so. What happened to its head?
Beheaded. By the same wizard. More of that weird lake water.
Really makes me wonder how this structure is supported. Yeah, are we on an island or what?
Beats me. How long is that thing? Looks like it might be about to fall apart. Grimoire, you go first.
A giant glowing gemstone full of plants.
AKA a greenhouse.
You ever see a mushroom that big before?
Not in real life.
Is that a clock?
If it is, it's a clock with 4 faces.
I'm guessing it doesn't tell the time.
So what does it do?
Nope.
So moving any of the hands turns the adjacent hands in the opposite direction. It's like cogs on a machine.
That's the one.
Hey, not bad. What's in the box?
A little tool thing? Looks like a telescope. But I'm not actually sure what it is.
Whoa, nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick, Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you, anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire. Maybe I'll become her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya Fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out informations to persons unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do. It's not in my interest to discuss personal details.
Even if you're one of the suspects in a murder?
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours. 5.5 days.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that. Now, I shall permit you one more question.
What crime are you...
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so? As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder. I've been investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the duration of my search staring up at the sky, out the open window. Didn't say a word, although I'm told this is the expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent the early evening searching the library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of disarray.
Fiona was in the library too?
I expected her to make an appearance, but she did not.
And you stayed in the library the rest of the day?
Not quite. Towards the early evening, my examination of the library was unexpectedly disrupted. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm. He told me to stay out of the way. I consented. I decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to me of what had occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled. That much was clear. But sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say. Quite the stoic statue, isn't she? I can only dream of being as cold and indifferent as Flora Fellow.
You think she's hiding something?
Perhaps. She has some strange habits. I heard she barely sleeps, an hour here or there, sporadically. Spends the rest of her time staring up at the sky. 314 cases solved. 314. Freya Fellow is of great interest to me. I perceived her to be the most intelligent individual here at Tangle Tower. Within a day, she had identified for whom I was working and for what I was searching. I didn't know how she did it. I was impressed. I regret that I did not question her more thoroughly when I had the opportunity.
You couldn't have known she was about to be killed, though.
I have only myself to blame for failing to perceive the signs.
What signs?
I do not wish to do your job for you, detective. Tangle Tower. No idea why they insist on calling it that. It's not even a tower. It's little more than a pair of turrets stuck on either side of a mansion.
Have you searched the whole place?
I believe so. Why?
He wants to know if you found any secret rooms.
Huh. I'm afraid the residents of Tangle Tower are far too ordinary for anything like that. I was disappointed too. You truly consider this a case file?
What's wrong with it?
No organization, no system.
That's my style. I like seeing everything laid out at once. Yeah, it helps me think.
How quaint. Where'd you dig that up?
It wasn't buried. It was underwater.
Someone trying to conceal evidence, perhaps? Have you deciphered the meaning of those 4 symbols on the harp?
We're working on it.
That's a no, then. Conveniently left anonymous. It's useless until you can prove to whom it concerns. Can you do that?
No.
No. Makes quite an impression, doesn't it? Although I can't imagine why she painted Flora wielding a knife.
You didn't see a knife anywhere in Flora's room, did you?
I did not. I conclude whatever stabbed Freya must have been brought into the room from outside. Unless, of course, it was the painting itself.
Surely you don't believe in that kind of thing.
A detective's job is to examine every avenue of thinking. The paint is still wet.
Yeah, well, we know Freya was in the middle of painting when she was killed.
Do you know that? How? Because you were told? A somewhat cumbersome device, and an altogether inefficient way to listen to music.
What kind of music do you like, Hawkshaw?
I like anything.
What a cop-out.
I believe that was in Flora's room yesterday, but it was not cracked when I saw it last. You got it open. I'm impressed. I managed it myself yesterday. I thought Flora might be hiding something in there.
It was empty yesterday, too?
It was. Perhaps it's always been empty. Paints?
Yep.
Paints.
Mm-hmm.
This belongs to you, Hawkshaw?
Correct.
And, what is it?
It's my handheld microscope for up-close investigation work.
What do you magnify with it?
Trace particles, dust, oils, clothing fibers.
Have you used it here at Tangle Tower?
I have. I used it to examine the greenhouse only 2 days ago.
What were you looking for?
That is between myself and my client.
A wooden trunk that opens up into a full desk.
I want one. This one's in a little pot.
Okay, that is definitely not edible.
It looks like a gemstone, don't you think?
Bit of a decadent flooring choice for a greenhouse. A little chart of, actually, I have no idea what it's about.
Greek letters, I think.
Kinda reminds me of a periodic table. Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
Greek letters, I think.
Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
Greek letters, I think. What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot. Hanging baskets. They're so high up.
To you, maybe.
You're only 2 inches taller than me.
2 inches makes all the difference. Is that fruit? It's shaped like fruit.
Too shiny to be fruit. I think it's glowing a little too.
Safe to eat, do you think?
I'm gonna say no. That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have magic powers.
It's bigger in here than I thought it would be.
Bags of soil.
It's so blue.
Tools. Used by a gardener. For gardening.
It's glass, but I can't see through it.
Total oxymoron.
I am not. It's glass, but
Total.
I am not.
Hanging baskets. They're so high up.
To you, maybe.
You're only
2 inches makes all. Sally, don't move. We're being watched.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything? Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Right, sorry.
Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fitzfellow, the gardener.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
I don't know.
You work here as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it. It's just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house? Yeah, I clocked it.
The color is just a byproduct.
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous. Not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet. Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants, animals eat the plants. Anything you've perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA, sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation?
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No, I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later. She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And?
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
Did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then, it wasn't. I can't describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We?
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent. I like Flora. I hope she's all right.
Do you think she had anything to do with the murder?
There's no way. She wouldn't willingly cause any additional suffering for anyone. She questioned me.
About what?
My work, the plants, bit of everything.
Did she search the greenhouse?
No, she didn't.
You sure? Maybe she did it when you weren't in there.
No, she hasn't touched it.
How can you tell?
Trust me, I can tell. She was always kind to me. She'd come into the greenhouse when I was working, sometimes by herself, sometimes with Poppy. I think they were just bored at first. Eventually, they started asking questions.
About what?
Poppy wanted to learn about flowers. Freya, she used to ask me about the insects.
Insects?
One of my jobs is to protect plants from things that might eat them. Freya brought me this little glass box, leaves and twigs inside. She'd say, put all the troublemakers in there. Every day I'd put a handful of beetles and other things in the box. Then she'd come along and take it away. I didn't really understand her, but she was always kind.
Have you met this guy, Fitz? Shifty eyes, doesn't say a lot. Totally suspicious, if you ask me.
That's me.
Yeah, it was a joke. I was joking.
Oh, I see. Nice painting. Gives you a pretty good idea of the layout.
The lake looks like it forms a perfect circle around the island.
It might seem strange to you, but nature is quite capable of producing perfectly geometric forms.
And those mountain cliff things around the outside?
We don't know much about them. They're unscalable. Not even Freya could have gone up there.
What's that?
This painting, it's speculative. There are no photographs from this angle as far as I know.
So Freya just made it up.
Let's call it an informed estimation. Who gave you that information?
Well...
We don't actually know who it was. We were contacted anonymously.
I see. And what happens if the person who contacted you turns out to be the murderer?
I never thought about that.
Honestly, that would be kind of fun. Like a twist, you know?
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. It's of no interest to me, but I overheard Poppy and Freya talking about it once.
What were they saying?
They were arguing about something, but I can't remember the details. How odd.
What do you think that is in Flora's hand?
I don't know. It does look like a knife, but Flora wasn't holding anything at all when I saw her after the murder. But there's something bothering me. Something else.
What?
When we went into Flora's room, she wasn't standing in this position.
Well, she probably would have moved around a little bit by then.
She wasn't standing at all. She was kneeling on the floor. There's something off about this.
What is it?
Why don't you take another look at Flora's room?
You think we missed a clue up there?
Not exactly. That belongs to Poppy.
So why is it up in Flora's tower?
I'm not sure. That looks like it might belong to Poppy. It's an egg with feet.
It was locked, but we opened it, but it was empty.
Fun story. Paints are different to flowers.
I'd say so, yeah.
At any time, flowers can bloom with perfect, faultless colors. Red, blue, white. With paint, once you've tainted a color by mixing it with others, not even the most skilled painter can return it to its pure form.
You ever seen this before, Fitz?
No, but I don't normally go into Fifi's room.
That's not where we found it.
Oh, I just thought it looks like it belongs to her. This is a good example of how things work. I mix that soil here in the greenhouse. It's made with water from the lake.
And it makes the fruit grow all shiny and gem-stony.
Sometimes. You never really know what's going to happen.
And what do you do with this shiny, inedible fruit?
You look at it.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the fellow tower.
This could be interesting. An empty glass and an empty plate.
Looking at it is making me want to cry.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh. Neither of these lights have an actual light bulb.
They're just decorative.
Oh, so decorative. Oh, wow.
What?
It's a big empty space.
Quit sulking. Not every room is going to be full of clues.
Oh, wow.
What?
It's a big empty space. It's a little handmade card. Someone's drawn a heart on the front. Inside it says, "To Fitz, from PP."
That poor plant.
Looks pretty healthy to me.
Healthy, but sad. I think it would rather be outside.
There's someone outside the window.
Something outside the window. It's probably just a rock.
You sure? It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
Nothing. Still locked.
The tiles have all got that same sun symbol on them.
Those moon symbols in the slots, are they connected?
Maybe they're connected, but also not connected.
Nope. It's not budging.
Maybe the information we need isn't here.
So where is it?
Somewhere else.
Ah, didn't work.
You know, I think this might be one of a pair.
What? The whole thing?
Yeah, something about those symbols. The duality of the sun and moon, you know?
If you say so. Ah, didn't work.
You know, I think...
What? The whole
yeah,
thing?
the duality of the
If you say so.
Let's come back once we know what to do. Hello.
Not hidden very well, is it?
Doesn't need to be. It's locked. It's a combination lock. Sort of. That's done it.
Neat. Anything in there?
Yeah, it's wrapped in a cloth. Hold on. Huh, that's kind of ominous. We already solved it. Quit sulking. Not every room is going to be full of clues.
Doesn't look soft. Doesn't look soft.
Quit sulking. Not every room is going to be full of clues. We spoke to Hawkshaw. I assume she didn't get anything out of you either. I bet that really ticked her off.
Do you and Fitz have anything to do with each other? Other than your initials? Supposedly, Freya was working on the painting when she was killed. Looks like she was still holding her painting.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
There it is. The looks that way. A map with a dotted line and an X marked on it.
That's a very boring way to describe a treasure map. It's a drinking horn.
Is it full of ale? Or mead, maybe?
Right now, it's just full of dust.
Oh. More maps?
No, they're just blank.
Oh.
A little hand-painted statue.
How can you tell it's hand-painted?
Well, the paints are right there on the desk. Also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell. The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made of wood. I think it's the actual hull of a ship.
The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made. I think it's the actual hull of a ship. What is it?
He's an imp.
What does he do?
Well, if you tell too many lies, he appears at the end of your bed in the middle of the night.
Oh. It's a barometer, but it's broken.
I've never seen a barometer that wasn't broken. Nice. A real treasure chest.
How do you know there's treasure in there?
Why else would it be locked? Plus, there's a treasure map hanging directly above it. What's the deal with that painting on the front?
Not sure. We should check that treasure map, too.
Nothing.
Did you check the treasure map for clues? And what about that painting on the chest itself?
Still locked.
I think there's a connection between the painting and the treasure map. Like they're different versions of the same thing, maybe?
That was incorrect.
The padlock has 3 different inputs: a letter, a number, and a compass direction. It's just a grid reference for the map.
That's done it.
Neat. What was in the box?
More wooden models. These are a little different to the one on the desk.
It's Earth.
If Earth was made of paper and gave off a gentle pink light.
Puffer fish?
Yes. It's also a lamp, for some reason. It's a magic lamp. Can we summon the genie?
If we get really stuck, sure. That's a massive conch shell. Do you think there's a little crab living inside?
I hope so. A lot of redundant light sources in here. A lot of redundant light sources in here. A hammock. It's kind of worn out.
I would politely describe it as lived in. A pencil drawing of a mountain on a moonlit night.
Mood. You get a good view of the lake from here. The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made, it's the actual hull of a ship.
The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made, it's the actual hull of a ship. An old wooden mast.
Probably cursed. The entire room is made
Oh,
of...
it's not just made, it's the actual hull of a ship.
Shelf junk.
A little mirror.
Definitely cursed.
It's not cursed. Not everything is cursed. Sir? Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
Well, I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secret rooms, hidden treasures. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
So, Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer. Explorer/treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking like curse statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long. I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the Fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is...
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
Don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. I'm sure you're up to it.
Well, there's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent, perhaps. Uncertain as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right, fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora, too, of course. Soon enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed me. Dearest Flora, a remarkable woman. Yes, been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know. Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, you know, red capes, of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine. Supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item. Something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it. You're the one currently basking in his presence. You tell me.
Let's move on.
Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower. Fitz? I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Charming, isn't it? Yes. Built by the Remington family originally. Dear Flora's father and his associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome, yes, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it? What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I find it comforting.
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. I'm as confused as you are. It would have been a beautiful painting. It's rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. It's unlike her to leave paint on the brush.
I think we'll give her a pass, given the circumstances.
Ah, yes, so we shall. Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do. Ah, you found it. What do you think, huh? I had to rush the final touches a little bit. It turned out all right, though.
What's it supposed to be?
It's Flora, of course, surrounded by all her favorite people. I've been carving for a couple of years now. I was hopeless when I started, but it didn't take me long to master it, as you can see.
Do you paint them yourself, too?
I do indeed, yes. Freya kindly taught me the basics. Nowadays, I can make just about anything I can imagine. Of course, this particular model is a self-portrait based on hard fact.
Hard fact, huh? So, you own a sword, Felix?
Of course. I own a great many. But my weapons are stored well away from Tangle Tower. Safety first and all that. I've never seen that before. Looks valuable. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise. Looks like Freya's paints.
Do you know why the pots are cracked down one side?
No, that's very odd. They're normally in excellent condition.
You seem pretty sure about that. Does Florin normally keep something in here?
She must do, but I admit I've never managed to work out what.
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody keeps something locked away in a ceramic egg, it's because they don't want to be asked about it.
Rules to live by.
That looks like it might belong to Poppy.
The entire room is made.
Oh, it's not just made. It's the actual hull of a ship.
The entire room is.
Oh, it's not just made. It's the actual hull. Not the kind of lamp I choose for my bedroom, but fair enough.
It's cool. Looks like old mining equipment or something.
It's a little glass box.
I think it's a vivarium.
Come again?
See the leaves and twigs in there? Might have been for keeping insects.
That's weird.
What did you find in the drawers?
Nothing. They're completely empty. Brushes, pencils.
They're clean, but they look pretty well used.
A pillow with a paw print pattern.
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate. It's Freya's bed. A little bit messy.
It's a perfectly healthy amount of messy.
Do you think this was always supposed to be a bedroom?
I don't know. It is kind of a weird shape.
No windows either. Freya's plants. They must not need sunlight? Just little trinkets.
Let's leave them alone.
Drawings taped up on the wall.
What's that one on the left?
Looks like two people standing together in a garden. One of them's holding a red rose. Drawings.
What's that one on the left?
Looks like one of them's holding a red rose. Freya's plants. They must not need sunlight. It's a little wooden box for paintbrushes.
To the casual observer, maybe. They're not real paintbrushes. Looks like they're part of some kind of lock mechanism. Nothing.
Did you find a hint on those scraps of paper? It looks like a ripped-up jigsaw puzzle.
That was incorrect.
Each brush has various characteristics: height, bristle shape, paint color, handle color. The information we need is on the paper. Once it's been rearranged, I mean.
Still locked.
So, the paper jigsaw puzzle shows the position of various characteristics of the brushes. There's a couple of brushes with each characteristic, but only one perfect solution.
Still locked.
So, the paper There's a couple of brushes with each...
That's done it.
Neat. What was in the box?
Just a photograph. Well, most of a photograph.
Do you think this was always supposed to be a bedroom?
I don't know.
No windows either.
That painting is really something.
Why would you want it looming over your bed like that?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the atmosphere it creates.
The atmosphere of chaos and oppression?
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph. It's a fish, I think?
I think it looks more like a whale.
Fine, it's a whale.
Could also be a shark. Freya's bear.
Looks pretty depressed.
He's had a rough couple of days.
Just little trinkets.
Let's leave them alone.
Just little trinkets.
Let's leave them alone.
A lot of these paintings look unfinished.
How can you tell if they're finished or not?
Good point.
Painting supplies.
A lot of these paintings...
How can you tell?
Good point.
Painting supplies.
There's no natural light in here at all.
I like it.
Do you think this was always...
I don't know.
No windows either. Do you think this
I
was...
don't
No
know.
windows either.
It's an illustrated book about birds.
It's been left open. Looks like somebody was halfway through reading it.
Or it was left open for us to find.
Ever so slightly unnerving. Books about birds.
The shelves are about half empty.
Oh, so you're a the shelves are half empty kind of person.
You knew this already.
Books about nature?
Books about space.
They're relatively untouched. Books about insects.
Well, theoretically. There's not a single book on that shelf.
Huh.
Books about geography.
Skip. Books about ancient history, I think?
These books are ancient history. I think they'd crumble into dust if I tried to pick them up.
Good excuse.
Thanks.
Sure. Why not build a science lab in the corner of the library?
The search for new knowledge. The archiving of old knowledge. It's downright poetic.
A book on the floor. Fundamental entomology.
I guess somebody dropped it. Books about geography.
Skip. Is that a snow globe?
Of sorts. Hey, look at that. It's a model of Tangle Tower. There's the lake and those weird mountains. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing souvenir.
Hey, look at that. It's a model of Tangle. What are you thinking?
That would make an
Hey, look at that. It's a what are you
That
thinking?
would make an amazing.
Hey, look at that. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing. What's in those bottles?
I'm not sure. Soil samples?
Sure. Why not?
The archive's downright poetic.
Sure. Why
The
not?
archive's downright poetic. It's musty in here.
What exactly does that mean? What is must?
Must. You ask such stupid questions.
Nice. A chalkboard.
Is this a library or a classroom?
Math equations.
Don't look at them for too long. You'll give yourself a headache.
Math.
Don't look. You'll give yourself a headache.
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
Math.
Don't look at them. You'll give yourself a headache.
I'm not sure I learned anything from that.
It's musty in here.
What exactly?
Must. You ask such
Nice.
stupid.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to talk to me,
Oh no? How come?
because I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
A hypothesis? About the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator. You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix, but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist, but it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing. What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other? Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you were friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes, soil. Dislikes, electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So, what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell—
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene,
Apart from the one in the painting.
which as a mere abstract representation does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right. But why?
I do not know why. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
Curious. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course. The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint. That blade,
It's a troll for gardening.
it is. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless, unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends
On what?
on the structural integrity of your teeth. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes. It has a telescopic lens. It can only be used for looking at things that are far away.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs.
Is she laughing?
There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz. This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third. I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time.
Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait.
There's something about Felix's painting supplies. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it.
There's something about the image of Flora in the painting. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
My daughter Fiona, our little burgeoning genius. You've met her?
We did. She's going by Fifi these days.
So I've heard. I asked her some weeks ago, what's wrong with your real name? She told me, get this, she wanted a name with an even number of syllables. She makes up the strangest things when she's under pressure.
What makes you think she made that up?
I happen to know the real reason she prefers Fifi over Fiona.
Oh, yeah?
It's what Freya called her. Freya was quite the talent. She had a way of capturing the spirits of her subjects. Not in an evil way, in a good way. My daughter Fiona and her best friend, they grow up so fast.
Do you know why it's ripped like that?
Ah, yes. I didn't even notice. No idea. That's one of Freya's paintings, is it not? It's impressive, but a little miserable for my tastes. Where did you find that?
It was in the library.
Really? How odd.
So, about this paint we found in your room.
Nothing suspicious about it. I used it to paint, obviously. Totally normal thing to do.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on then, out with it. What exactly are you accusing me of?
It's not your paint pot. Did you take it from somewhere else?
What on earth? It's definitely mine. I even have proof. Look, the lid matches the ones on all my other paint pots. End of discussion.
That's not the end of the discussion.
We need a clue to compare with Felix's red paint. Something to prove who it actually belongs to. Let's take a closer look at this. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with...
That red paint is from Freya's supplies, not yours. Swapping the lids doesn't hide what you did.
Why are you bothering me about paint anyway? And none of this is connected to your murder.
This red paint pot was used to fill up blood before Freya used it to paint Flora. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. This red paint pot was used to fill up blood and emptied out onto the floor. Nope. This red paint pot contained no blood before Freya used it to paint Flora. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. This red paint pot had been emptied of all its blood before Freya used it to paint Flora. Almost. Maybe just change one thing. This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project when I suddenly realized I had run out of red paint. There was a certain amount of time pressure, so I politely asked Freya if I could borrow hers. Just for a little while, you know, perfectly reasonable request.
But she said no.
I tried to explain why I needed it, but she didn't seem to care. So, well, I took Freya's red paint pot and swapped it with my own empty one.
You went into her room?
Not my proudest moment, but it's just paint. I didn't touch anything else.
And the paint pot you left behind was definitely empty?
Quite. I have absolutely no idea how it got blood in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why were you in such a hurry to get a hold of red paint anyway?
I was trying to finish this in time for Flora's birthday. I needed red to paint the final details.
Could you not have just used a different color?
Out of the question. It had to be red and white.
If you managed to finish it, why haven't you given it to Flora yet?
Well, I decided against it in the end. After what happened, seemed a bit insensitive.
We met Felix, your husband. He's one of our suspects, and he seems pretty suspicious if you ask me. So, if you want to stick up for him, now's your chance.
Nice try. We spoke to your daughter Fifi. She's some kind of super intelligent scientist. You must be proud of her. What do you think of your husband's hobby?
Do you have any hobbies? You haven't seen this yet, have you?
It's a little model of you. Who were the other people next to you?
This is a photo of Fifi, isn't it? Your daughter? Have you seen this book before? Do you know who it belongs to?
I really thought she was going to say something there.
So, this painting, specifically that knife in Flora's hand.
Yeah, it's creepy. But we didn't find a knife anywhere in the room. So what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with the painting. Something to explain what that knife shape actually is.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Let's take a closer look at this. The painted knife is made out of a bird from an ink dip bird. Nope. The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink dip bird.
It's definitely the right shape, but the book's not in color. The thing Flora's holding in the painting is red and white, specifically. Is there anything to suggest that the ink dip bird is red and white too? This little thing? I don't understand why Felix would make a model of this bird as part of a gift for Flora. And come to think of it, why would Flora be holding a feather in the painting anyway?
The ink dip bird was Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet. And it died?
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time staring out the window.
Either way, she kept the feather. I think it was pretty important to her.
All right, so she was holding the feather while Freya was painting her. But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah, I think she does. Normally. This is where Flora usually keeps her feather.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely empty. Flora? She's pointing at something in the corner of the room.
It's just a pile of books. They're not... Wait, there's something tucked inside this one. I like these drawings, Flora.
Is there a reason why you wanted us to see them? Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Surely you must have seen something? Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya?